Hello, this vid is basically the democratic and Stoic view of why the debate between Zionism, that is Jewish extreme nationalism, versus anti-Semitism, which is mostly associated with Nazism, right, is a null debate to a Stoic. Now, I adhere to some Stoic principles, but I wouldn't describe myself as a Stoic. But I do believe in the concept of indifference, grateful indifference. Now, if you shared in the pain of every people who had been enslaved or had war made against them or massacred, then you would be constantly in pain because you would have your expressing your empathy. Now, Stoics believed in empathy, but they believed that people should do what they knew they should do. Okay, so in that sense, if I was to be like the commentator Jack Black, I think his name is, he said, why can't we get all the people with all these strong opposing views and just put them in a room and they would never get out? And he was talking about the abortion, anti-abortion thing, and then we can all get on with the rest of our lives. Well, in a sense, I would say that can't we find a big room to put Zionists and, or I should say, Semitic nationalists, who would be the extreme Zionists, extreme Islamists, because the Arabs are Semitic as well, and extreme anti-Semites in the same room. Well, this is the point of this vid. You know, let me just say, I do not believe that even Zionists or Islamists are the most evil people on the planet. There are degrees of that. They're not all involved in terrorism or any of these things that people say. But there are people who are very anti-Western amongst those groups. And on the same scale, people who claim to be Western nationalists actually reject most of the Western philosophy that made the West work and be great, because they adhere to the principles of Mein Kampf, and that is why I am thoroughly against anti-Semitism. I'm not against it, I'm just indifferent to it, because as a Stoic I would be indifferent. People have no particular right over anyone else in the Stoic view, and in the that links up with the democratic view. Everybody votes and no one has any special rights. Everybody's right is universal. There is a German word called Gemeinschaft, which the Nazis rejected because it meant unity, community and togetherness. They rejected it in practice, although they spoke about it a lot in their writings. Now, as somebody who would describe himself as an anti-Nazi, I'm also against extreme Zionism and extreme Islamism as jihadism. I'm against jihadism, as I said in other videos. So my position is quite clear. I am indifferent to these people unless they try to harm my country, my culture, my nation. And then the Stoic principle applies that you can then make defence of yourself, okay, and continue what is called under the principle of what is called a just war, okay. So I do not do harm to others and they do not do harm to me. That is the basis on how things should be, that people should be good neighbours to one another. Now, why would I say that one particular group of people, whether they be the Nazis or Zionists or jihadists, have a special right to exist above all other people? And that's the debate, that's the hook on which this debate unfolds, that people have some kind of special right, and that's not true. All people have a universal right to exist unless they do harm to other people. Alright? Now, the Nazis deserved what they got, and in fact we should not forget that hundreds of thousands of Germans died trying to get rid of that evil bastard Adolf Hitler. Okay? um, who other people lionise, and they should not lionise, because if they knew what Hitler's personal habits were like, they would recoil in horror. Okay, the guy was a monster, and can't we just leave him in his grave as a footnote in history to be forgotten over the millennia, but not during our times? What is wrong is that, as I said in my video, European racism versus European extinctionism equals stupid, is that there's an automatic assumption by some races that they have a right to exist over others. Now, as we're seeing in South Africa, the Nordic, Celtic and Roman synthesis of races which form the Boers is being attacked, and their race is being destroyed. So therefore, in that context, some degree of animosity towards the people who are doing that, say the ANC Youth League, would be quite appropriate. So I can understand why Jewish people loved Inglourious Bastards, although I didn't particularly like the film because it didn't show anyone to be a particular hero. I thought it was going to be like The Dirty Dozen. But it was still a good film. And I'm going to actually do a video on Inglourious Bastards, because I'd like to clarify, in case people think I was being pro any particular side, which I'm not. Why I think it was, as a film, a great film, but I didn't particularly like it myself. Also, if you should want to know more on why you shouldn't like extreme Zionism or extreme jihadism, you'd only have to look at the videos that Bin Laden's made, or Rabbi Taz. Extreme anti-Semitism, well, there's so much of that out there, it has to be stopped in some way, but it cannot be to the detriment of all expression of European culture. In fact, anti-Semitism, I think, is against European culture, but the overall thing is that there are many people in the Middle East who are extremely anti-European, extremely anti-British and extremely anti-American, and the principles of the US Constitution I'm speaking about, and that has to be resisted, because that is an attack on our culture, and we did no harm to them. In fact, the Europeans, the British and the Americans all helped to found the State of Israel as a secular Western style democracy, and that is what I wish Israel would be, and I wish Israel the best. But that really wraps up this debate, and this is my 160th video, and I've got over 13,277 hits on one other video on South Africa. Please check those videos out. Peace, and let's stop the arguments out there and get on with one another. Thank you.